Okay.
Our contractor started building.
Climate change. Do what work we might do. Then it means talk and collaborate.
Okay, we're live. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. Introducing Jennifer Flood, who's one of the executive officers at the Bermuda Environmental Sustainable Task Force. Sorry, that's okay. And you're going to introduce the Eco Lunch and Learn.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know about Eco Lunch and Learn already, this is our 7th series. That means it's our 7th year, which I think is quite an achievement. It came about from a discussion between Kim from Best and Amy from the college to have informed public discussions. That was the main thrust of it, on the many issues that are confronting the Bermuda community. And so to facilitate this, we invite local experts to speak on a variety of topical issues to which all members of the public, including school children, are invited. We're also online, so hopefully there's a good online audience as well. This season, we're off to an excellent start with an amazing young person who we're very grateful has found time in her busy schedule to be here. And Amy will now introduce her. Noelle,
Yeah, so I don't want to have my back to her, but yes, Noelle Young, I'm so excited to have her open our series. She's very well accomplished for a young person. She has a background in marine science, specifically in aquaculture and fisheries. She's worked all over the world. She also sits on many UN committees and all kinds of different ones, some Climate Rights and Justice International, the Island Innovations Climate Justice Leaders Academy, the UN World Food Forum of Food and Agriculture, and the list goes on and on. And locally, she's part of BOP as well. So I don't even know how she fits it into her day, but and more. I know this is just there's more on the list, but I just can't even. We don't have time. We want to hear her. So welcome and thank you so much for being the first speaker of our 7th series. So welcome everyone.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I recently returned from an incredible Greenpeace voyage into the heart of the Sargasso Sea. And stepping back onto dry land has never felt so bittersweet. The journey was not just a return to the sea, a place that feels like home, but a vivid reminder of what we are fighting for, the preservation of our ocean and the unique ecosystems within it, such as the Sargasso Sea. This region is not only geographically unique, but also deeply symbolic of the environmental and socio-political challenges facing small island developing states. And as a mixed-race, multicultural female activist from Bermuda, I've always viewed my identity as both a badge of honor and a profound responsibility. The Arctic Sunrise vessel, which is Greenpeace's ship, was a microcosm of global cooperation, hosting individuals from 18 different nationalities. Each person brought their unique cultural insights and expertise, united under a shared, powerful goal of preserving the ocean. This diversity on board was not just about representation. It was a testament to the power of collective action in the face of global environmental challenges. This experience deepened my commitment to ocean conservation, particularly as the Sargasso Sea, with Bermuda as its lone landmass, faces constant threats despite its ecological importance. As a British overseas territory, Bermuda's relationship with international bodies and foreign nations often complicates our local governance and our environmental stewardship, sometimes overshadowing the voices of our local communities. It's clear that our relationship with the Commonwealth needs to be strengthened, especially in addressing environmental issues collaboratively. The paradox of being a Commonwealth country with limited control over our own waters underscores the struggles that small island nations face in balancing global governance with local sovereignty. The concept of resilience often describes the spirit of Bermuda and its people, yet I challenge this notion. Resilience has become a soft glove over a hard fist, masking systemic issues under the guise of strength and endurance. We need to shift the conversation from enduring to preventing, from surviving to thriving. This narrative of resilience, often celebrated as a virtue, sometimes feels like a trap, suggesting that enduring hardship is our only option. But why should our survival depend on our ability to endure? We need national and global policies that address the root causes of inequality and environmental degradation, not just those policies that praise us for surviving them. I'm a staunch advocate for intergenerational collaboration. The wisdom of our elders combined with the innovation and energy of the youth can forge a formidable force for environmental advocacy. It's essential that we harness this collective power to push for policies that reflect true equity and justice. I believe that our focus needs to extend beyond local advocacy to global action. Yes, the challenge is immense, but so should be our determination. As a disruptor and advocate of intergenerational collaboration, inclusion, equity, and sustainable solutions, I am committed to ensuring that Bermuda's voices are not just heard, but that they are leading the charge. The time for enduring is over. Now is the time for empowering, leading, and protecting. So we must become proactive in choosing the way we want our environment to be. While many hazards cannot be prevented, disasters can be. While I'm giving you my spiel, have a quick look at this image. I'm going to ask you in a minute where that building is. So earthquakes, droughts, floods, storms, landslides, volcanic eruptions, they're all natural hazards. Yes, they lead to deaths and damages, i.e. disasters, because of what humans fail to do rather than an act of nature. All right. Everybody know where the building is? I didn't get to ask the question. So yes, this is our King Edward Memorial Hospital. So many disasters actually result from a combination of natural hazards and social and human vulnerabilities, including development activities that are ignorant of local hazardous conditions. So to briefly summarize what's up on that slide, describing a disaster as natural suggests that no matter the decisions taken by humans, the event would have occurred anyway, and there was little we as humans could have done to prevent it due to its natural origin. The attribution of blame for disaster, losses to nature, or to an act of God absolves powerful decision makers of responsibility for allowing or forcing people to live in vulnerable conditions. This use of language strips disaster stories of their social, political, and environmental, as well as economic context on where injustice is pervasive. Great. So having a quick look at the slide, I've listed a few hazards. Can anyone else think of other hazards?
Oh, sorry. Locations are hazards. Sorry. I'm sorry, I'm writing down what.
Specifically related to our hospital, sorry. I'm using a different computer that's not my own, so apologies that the animations aren't coming in time.
Something happening at the airport.
So that is actually our King Edward Memorial Hospital.
Right.
And research has shown that over 80% of hospitals in small island nations, such as Bermuda's, are situated in low-lying coastal areas, and there are no plans for the impacts that climate change can have on those vital resources, such as hospitals.
How to get people there or get them out if there's like flooding. Is that what you mean?
Yep, so that would be part of a hazard.
Power supply would be a big limitation there. Also has some generation capacity, but not infinite.
It's a good one. So what do we do about this? How can you get involved? These are my top 3 things that I believe individuals can do to improve the situation. To mitigate and improve the traditional notion of resilience in Bermuda and foster long-lasting, impactful change, individuals can take the following actions. Engage in policy. Participate in public consultations. Reframe the discourse. And support global movements. Which brings me to this initiative, which I believe is a great example of an opportunity to engage in all 3. So I have been endorsed by YOUNGO, the Children and Youth Constituency of the United Nations, to host Bermuda's first local consultation of youth. The theme for this year is climate justice. The objective is to collect the suggestions, recommendations, and concerns of local youth and compile them into Bermuda's first national youth statement. The second objective is to educate and engage local youth in human rights, sustainable development, and climate action. And the target audience is ages 13 to 39. So what is a national youth statement? Bermuda's first national youth statement is a document that will represent the collective voices of young Bermudians. It will be presented to our national youth leaders, YOUNGO, and in turn, the United Nations leaders at COP29 in November this year. This document outlines our concerns, demands, and proposed policies across various areas crucial to Bermuda's sustainable development. Our aim is to ensure that Bermuda meets the internationally agreed upon sustainable development goals while addressing the unique challenges that we face on our island. The statement will provide detailed reasoning for each demand and highlight the benefits of implementing our suggested policies, demonstrating their importance for Bermuda's future. This is an example of one of the demands that Bermuda's youth have suggested. National playground safety standards. This came about as we received a few complaints from youth about how their younger siblings were coming home from school with burns from playground equipment.
Oh, wow.
So as you can see here, I should say this is more of an example for those of you that may be thinking about creating your own demands, a template to follow. So you list your concern. You list very clearly or state very clearly what the demand is. You also list your reasoning and what you propose policies could be, as well as the benefits of implementing those policies. So I do apologize, these are very text heavy, but I wanted to show an example of what is actually in our current draft.
What came after concern? What was this, just in the slide before?
Concern,
Oh, demand.
demand, yep. Reasoning, your proposed policies, and then the benefits of implementing those policies. And I can share the slide deck after as well.
Thank you. Great.
So what is the roadmap? What does this look like? What is the purpose of a national youth statement? So essentially, local conferences of youth are being held all around the world. If I'm being honest, Bermuda is late to the game, as this has been going on for over 10 years. So from that local conference, you produce a national youth statement. That national youth statement is then submitted to YOUNGO, the Children and Youth Constituency of the United Nations, and it is then used and discussed in the regional conference. For context, Bermuda is included as a part of the Caribbean. From that regional conference, there is the submission of a regional youth statement, and then a global conference where the final document is then submitted to United Nations leaders for discussion at COP. I should also state that COP is basically the conference of parties where all United Nations leaders will be, and that will happen in November of this year. So just a quick breakdown of the process and a little bit more about it. We've already gone over what a national youth statement is, but the regional outputs summarizes, again, youth perspectives and climate action priorities from that specific region, ours being the Caribbean, and then the same thing for global. So what are the expected outputs of LaCoy Bermuda 2024? The first being the National Youth Statement, of course. However, we're allowed to pick our own national priorities as well. The second one is the submission of a national petition for children and youth equity to become Bermuda's first national sustainable development goal. So I'm calling on the people of Bermuda to sign this petition, people of all ages, for the equity of children and youth, as well as to help create a list of other sustainable development goals and targets to present to our nation's leaders. Together, we can shape a set of national sustainable development goals that will drive our community forward. By promoting equitable access to resources and ensuring that human rights are being met for all generations, we can create an environment where everyone is valued and supported to reach their full potential. This fosters a society that is inclusive, fair, and empowered to contribute positively to our collective future. Signing a petition for youth equity is important because it can help push for policies and actions that address these inequities, ensuring a fair, more inclusive future where every young person has a chance to succeed, and your voice can help amplify the need for change. Our island has a birth rate of just 400 children per year, as I'm sure you all know. And I believe that this is low enough that we have the opportunity to ensure that every child of the future generations thrives in terms of health and intelligence. If we prioritize equity for children and youth at a national level, these young individuals will be our future leaders and problem solvers. And we should begin empowering them in the womb. This brings me to the third initiative, which is the creation of National Sustainable Development Goals, which I believe is the first step in creating a national climate action plan. Together, we can shape a set of national sustainable development goals that will, of course, drive our community forward. And I'm going to show you a brief video of the International Sustainable Development Goals, the global ones, to help spark ideas and interest. All right, it looks like that slide is now missing. I hope the other videos are still there. All right, so how can you help? Spread the word. Tell everyone that you possibly can to get involved in these initiatives. Just speakers and subject matter experts, become a speaker or a subject matter expert yourself at the local consultation of youth. You can volunteer. You can help with event organization. You can be a translator or an interpreter. And most importantly, you can nominate youth to be recognized as outstanding Bermudians for contributing to sustainable development goals. That includes everything from projects to the creation of documents. I'd say that realistically, if you think that the theme fits, nominate them. There is, of course, a call for speakers and sponsors. And here is a list of all the topics that youth have suggested so far. And I'll say that, of course, we have not spoken to every Bermudian youth yet. This is a very small majority, and most of our discussions have been verbal. But you can submit ideas and suggestions and concerns on the Google document that we have available. So for any of you that are subject matter experts that see a topic that you may want to discuss or give the youth more information about, please feel free to contact me. All right, so this is just a brief example of the type of things that we'll be discussing. Now, these are all videos, and I'm hoping that they are going to work. But just a quick example, zoonotic disease, which is specifically talking about things like COVID-19. Most people have no idea that COVID-19 is an environmental disease. And then we'll also, of course, be discussing new data, which we feel is really important, using the most current data possible to keep us informed. Does the tech guy happen to be here? No.
We need to look up.
Yeah, the videos aren't playing. Yeah, sure.
How do you prioritize the topics? And that list you showed us have like 3 columns. How do you prioritize, or how do you know which ones you're going to focus on? Because you're not going to focus on them all, right?
So the way that it's going to work is based upon the recommendations of the youth that register for the LaCoy. That's how we're going to pick the topics that they want to discuss. However, you can always comment on any of those topics because we're going to specifically go by Sustainable Development Goal, and basically anything in the world can fit under one of those Sustainable Development Goals. We're also going to ensure that each one of those is linked specifically to climate, environment, or sustainability. Yep.
So is the LCOI about to happen? You're just
Yes.
preparing for it?
It's happening in October.
So is there enough time to get everything done in terms of putting it up the chain to get to COP with that?
Yep. So I'll say that we have already had to submit a draft to Youngo. The final document isn't due until just before COP29.
But you have to determine the content based on the list
Yes.
that is presented, so.
But all concerns, I would say that all concerns are included. So it's not, when it comes to the document itself, there's no picking and choosing. It's any concern is listed within the document, as long as it's a full concern with the recommendation, the demand itself, and then the policy suggestions afterwards. I'll say that right now, the document is about 40 pages. And we're still going.
Bedtime reading, or a local website or for alcohol.
I've put it on mine. We didn't want to pay for a website, but noelleyoung.info. And there's a few buttons on there and a web page specifically for the LaCoy where you can register. The sponsorship document is on there as well. And then the application to apply to be recognized as an outstanding Bermudian youth. We may just move on.
Have you got a second?
Go ahead.
Mine's last. With all that feedback, is that feedback from one-on-one sessions, focus groups, or people getting onto this website and feeding into it?
As of right now, most of it is from one-on-one sessions and then contacting a few of the other youth groups on the island. However, most of this hasn't kicked off yet. So we're actually a bit concerned about the amount of information that we might receive and hoping that we have the time to really go through all of it since the document's already so big and we've received so many suggestions. A few of them have come from the online documents and then emails that we've been sent as well. Any other questions?
So for the LCOI, if it's a symposium where you bring people together to have some discussions, bring up new topics, is there value in having some of those intergenerational people?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're asking.
There to help, not necessarily guide or do that because that's too old, but to be there as a resource in real time rather than like, okay, ask Robbie to email you 15 papers of monitoring. That's too slow. So give us an invitation of time when you think would be helpful for us to participate.
So essentially, most of it is actually going to be held online. We're going to provide a lot of pre-recorded content because the feedback that we received from most youth is that when can we fit this into our schedule? So we're hoping to host online sessions that will be no longer than 1 hour, but there will be a final in-person component to bring everyone together. And we're hoping to get 100 Bermudian youth that are interested in compiling the full and final version of the National Youth Statement. So that's when we would have those speakers, a lot of the other in-person subject matter experts. Essentially, we were hoping to do this over a period of 4 to 6 weeks, to have 1 session per week. But unfortunately, we've been waiting for communications back from our government as well. We really wanted to ensure that the public school students had the chance to contribute. Sorry, the videos aren't playing. Those videos are- All right, we're having technical difficulty. I'll play the videos at the end.
That's true.
That's good, and I appreciate your continuing to.
Couldn't get much higher, that's why. Oh. True, true. True. Well, folks who can maintain it, which is
Yes,
why
I
we
am.
want to support that. Because it feeds into us. That's good.
So I talked to he says that his days out and yeah. This house, yeah. Just thinking it was like that time.
Totally.
I don't want to be doing that.
And nobody likes it.
No.
I'm trying to find something. Stuart had the right idea, in a way. He didn't focus. Now he had a short.
Let's put some things.
In other words, so yes, we can just not coming in, just keep doing the work, keep doing the work. There you go.
That's right. No, me too.
Or basically, it's a sort of
Take a screenshot and send it to
somebody who knows somebody and someone puts it out here. So that
Saved up.
Just like you people.
And we're live on YouTube. Yeah, it's okay. Things happen.
Discussions.
We're taking our mental break.
Is there reason not doing, which could put them in. Very good.
Andres. So we'll,
I read that.
That's why I went.
Perfect.
She's.
Advising.
So I said her.
which is, give us the bill until September, that's fine.
Graduated? Graduated December.
That is fine.
So I'm not, just a bit of a bit to go.
Maybe we can.
That's a. Move over. Let's go.
We should. Set up a recommendation to focus on. So I'll drop
Miss USD.
conversation. And then we'll circulate that.
She's in John now.
So we can have some chat because, you know. We're doing it, making things say. Discuss.
Going from here.
It'll be back, say, October 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, shouldn't do, shouldn't do.
I'm just gonna ask. She appreciates it.
No, I was like, no, because I'm still there. Speaking to you.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
Okay.
Run out. It's like a just play them for a second.
I mean, the idea was
You don't have a dash, right?
diminishing respect.
Yeah.
Put everything on. What's that? Very.
Yeah.
I mean, email him. Are you?
I was gonna do it.
So we can remind you?
Yeah.
You remember? I don't think I'm a platinum. It's too, you know, what college is like.
Sustainable getting to 5, it means that. Essentially, if you interpret, if you interpret.
Yeah, wait.
You take a boat and cycle here? I don't know, must exist.
No, I
Everywhere. It's well.
Students.
Something.
Yeah.
What time is it? It's still. I heard that.
So we said.
That's the other one.
Didn't write it.
No, that's perfect. I've never do.
Usually they.
She's my advisor. I've never said. I'm her advisor. Advisor, sorry, I'm her advisor. So we try. She would
All right, we are just going to go through the videos. So this is an example of one of the topics that will be discussed at the LaCoy. Try not to jinx anything and just do it this way. My presentation's almost over. I quickly wanted to mention the fact that I don't feel Bermudian youth are really given the opportunity to show their competencies. And I think it's time that we start informing them of all of the international opportunities that are available to them. During the LaCoy, we are going to present a bunch of programs, fellowships, but also most importantly, scholarship opportunities that I don't think many Bermudian youth know of. At this point in time, there are about 30 fantastic schools that are providing free tuition to Bermudian students because we are a part of the Caribbean as well as a part of the Commonwealth.
How do you find out about those schools?
International information. That's the main way that I found out a lot of the, when I went to COP28 last year, it really did just kind of open my eyes to how little Bermudians know about what's going on in the rest of the world. So this is just a great example of what I feel would be a low stress opportunity for success. And I really hope that a Bermudian student is able to join this camp next year. They're not all camps. Of course, some are very in-depth United Nations programs. But let's go back. mailboxes.
That's good. Those are just for young people 35 and under?
What is that? It's 35.
Exactly, I identify, definitely.
There are definitely other programs and especially fellowships for older persons as well.
That was that older person.
So in this slide, I have a huge list of resources. Everything from, I think, 200 different methods of nonviolent action to some fantastic podcasts that you can listen to, as well as some of the basic research that I feel is important. That there's research on how air conditioning and climate are actually affecting the anxiety of people within countries. I'll say that the previous video that I showed is for a climate justice camp. And again, I hope that there is a Bermudian youth that will get to attend that program next year. I have no affiliation with that program at all. Another program that I do have an affiliation with is the Island Innovation Caribbean Climate Justice Leaders Academy. I hope to not be the first and last Bermudian youth in that program. I will say that it's been a fantastic experience, and that I guess because I put my all into it this year, I've been chosen as one of the top 5 students to be funded to go to COP29 this year. I'm not gloating, but the reason that I'm telling you this is because of the significance of it with Bermuda's National Youth Statement being submitted to the United Nations. That means I get to be there in person to help drive this. And I'm hoping to do everybody proud. But this is the end of my presentation. So the next steps are register for the LaCoy if you're interested. Please register or nominate Bermudian youth, as well as sponsorship. That's always important. But most importantly, please sign the petition for children and youth equity. All of that is available on the website, noelleyoung.org. And thank you all for being here.
Noelle.
I know we had sorry, I was just coming up to say, are there any more questions? I know we had a little break and we had some questions, but Kim, you've got a question?
Yeah, I just had a question about the team members on Alcoy.
All of the team members on Alcoy are the youth delegation of Bermuda. So the group that I kind of got together last year, last minute before COP28. So I was fortunate to be able to go to COP28 last year through Younga, which is another youth program. So that would be, I think there's almost 10 of us now. But myself, William Campbell, Zane Sinclair, Malachi Simons, Isaiah Fraser, Ollie Cherry, Zara, I forgot Zara's last name. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but Zara is fantastic. And then most recently, Amory Duncan from Catch of the Day, who's starting his own security app.
Are you all going to COP29?
Unfortunately, no, because we don't have the funding. So as of right now, because I was funded through the Caribbean Climate Justice Leaders Academy, I will be going. I believe that William Campbell has officially received word that he's going to be funded as well, I believe through his employer. But unfortunately, yeah.
Are there only so many spots at the table for you, or is it like?
There are so many spots available for Blue Zone passes. So I will hopefully be going on a Blue Zone pass this year, which will enable me to get into high-level discussions in high-level areas. Yeah. However, COP is actually free to anyone that wants to attend. And they will be basically in what's called the green zone, which is less high level. So anyone can attend, but again, being from Bermuda, it's about the funding to get there and also the knowledge.
I might have missed it because I was in and out, but you mentioned that intergenerational approach is really important, right? And especially for us older people to help out the young. What can we do to support you? Or what do you need from us? I mean, you've mentioned lots of things, but
Honestly, the
Yeah.
most important thing that you can do is mentorship.
Okay.
Mentorship is crucial, and Bermuda doesn't really have any pathways for mentorship anymore. You know, at least I've been told back in the day, people were, you know, mentoring younger folk, whether it be centered around their life or their lifestyle. Then, of course, there was educational mentorship and then workplace mentorship, but Bermuda doesn't really have a pathway or a plan for that anymore.
Yeah.
There was an announcement this week from the government about a graduate employment program. Applications are due on the 1st, so any mentors are interested. You've had someone you know is hanging around not doing anything and got 10 weeks to spare. Try to set up that dialogue. That's a uniquely new opportunity for grad students who come out of college. So got my eye on and hopefully you'll follow through and for another 10 weeks. So future changes. I think there are mentors around. It's just time and money and opportunity because you can't be a mentee if you have to pay the bills somewhere. So something like this new program for the graduate support will be a good window for someone to just get some more experience and get more opportunity to learn stuff.
And I think following on from that, because I've mentioned to a few students here about the possibility of shadowing scientists in the field, for example. And one of the top things they say is like, we need to work to get paid to pay bills. And so you're, you know, you want to advance your career on the one hand, but you can't because you have obligations on the other. So I think this is an important thing that you can, you know, if you can somehow bridge that gap.
It's a new program for the youth employment program, so let's take advantage of it. Make our young people aware of it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to say thank you to Noelle. And I think that last video she showed, Noelle exemplifies that collaboration and community. In all the work that she's been doing, she is drawing people in from disparate groups, whether it's us older people or other areas with the younger people. She's drawing them all in. She's not excluding anyone. And that is so important. In such a small community, you can't afford to leave people out. We don't have it. It was also interesting, in the little break that we had, I had a news flash on Hurricane Helene, and it exemplifies your point about our hospital. It says the storm threatens to displace thousands, disrupt healthcare systems, and leave countless communities needing critical medical care. And where are they all built? Where have they been allowing them to continue building in areas that are? They're just inviting disaster, basically, but they'll call it, as you say, a natural disaster. So I think that was, not a good point I wanted to make there. Time for empowerment, leading and protecting. Again, that's something she exemplifies, but that's something every one of us can take. I think her presentation today had so much information for us and a call to every one of us to respond in whatever way we can. We can't all respond in every single way, but each of us has a talent, a gift that we can use and give to this effort. So thank you very much, Noelle, for giving up so much of your time to do this. And we wish you the very best of luck as you go forward with these projects and speak for not just the young people, but for everyone when you're at COP.
Thank you, Noelle. NoelleYoung.info. NoELLE.
Right now.
YOUNG.info. Thank you.
And our next presentation next month, October the 31st, and I'm not trick or treating on this one. It's actually microbial oceanography, microbiomes and microplastics, which is all in the news at the moment, the devastating effect that they are having. And we're very pleased to have Rachel Parsons from BIOS and talking about those very important topics. So that's the 31st. I hope you'll be able to be there too. Thank you very much for coming today. and have a wonderful day.
November.
Oh, and in November, still on sustainability, and this is important given the buildings and such like, we have a local architect who will be talking about sustainable architecture. Emir?
Emer Johnston.
Johnston,
She's Irish.
sorry, Emer.
That has a design company here. And she will be on the 21st because the following week's Thanksgiving, so we have it a week earlier. Because typically we have it the last Thursday of the month. Okay, so but this November will be a week earlier. So 21st, 1 to 2 here. Hopefully.
Sorry, what's your last name? Great. I know you're the only one I forgot.
Thank you so much, everyone.
That you know.